Okay, I'm excited for this video. Welcome back everybody to another video. This is part 2 of my little emergency preparedness series. If you haven't watched last video already, I suggest you do if you are not knowledgeable in the realm of emergency preparedness. I know that I wasn't until I started doing a lot of this research a couple of years back, and I got to a point where I felt that it would be really important to share this with you guys. A huge part of living in Vancouver is acknowledging that there is some risk in living here. We are in an earthquake zone, we do live on the coast, so being prepared for an emergency as such is important. Today's video is all about what is in my emergency kit. Grab and go bags and emergency kits are not just for doomsday preppers, folks. They're for anybody who wants a fighting chance at survival in the event of an emergency. I'm not an expert. I've lived through one very, to say I've lived through is a stretch, but I've experienced one very small earthquake that didn't cause any major damage and did not alter my life in any profound way, other than fueling these lovely little anxieties I have about natural disasters in Vancouver. I'm also going to link a lot of the products that I have in my bag in my description box below. Without further ado, let me show you all the goodies I have in here right now that are gonna hopefully help me survive in the event that I am here when a earthquake hits, or any sort of natural disaster for that matter. So anyways, without further ado, let's get to it. Yeah. The very first thing that you obviously are gonna need is a bag to put everything in. Now, I am just using one of the bags that I take on day hikes and little quick backpacking adventures. Any backpack will do, but this was just one of the extras that I had on hand. I figured I would use it because it kind of fits everything that I need. Now for the contents of my emergency kit. I have quite a few things that I have managed to stuff into that backpack that you just saw, and there are still more things that need to go in it. So the very first thing that I keep in my emergency kit is a first aid kit. Now this guy is very tiny. I do wish it was bigger, but in it I more or less have the essentials. I do also have some painkillers in here, a couple different types, as well as allergy medication, just in case. Next, I have my ID. This is where I keep my passport, I keep my birth certificate, and then one other form of ID alongside any cash that might be necessary. I don't really need my ID all too frequently, so having it in my emergency kit is honestly a really great place to keep it, because if anything happens and it's there, I don't even need to think about it, whereas if it's just in my desk, that's a black hole. You don't know what's going on in there. So best to just have it somewhere where it's easily accessible if and when I need it. Then I have my trusty tech pouch, which really doesn't have too much in it right now. I've got some spare batteries, a charger, tiny little lock. I need to get a portable charger. That's still on my list. And then I do have some cash as well, just to make sure that if I need to buy something, I can. That's pretty well all I have in here, honestly. Now we are moving into sustaining oneself. I have 3 liters of water, which technically isn't even enough water to last a 72-hour period. Your girl over here gets super thirsty. I easily drink 3 liters of water a day. In an emergency situation, maybe that would be a different story. I would probably conserve and ration. Continuing that conversation about access to clean water, I have a water filter. Now again, this is not something that a lot of people have, largely because you don't really need it. This is a compact hiking and backpacking water filter, which is the only reason I have it, because it is meant to filter out bacteria and viruses and debris from water that you would be drinking up in the mountains. This bad boy was definitely on the pricey side. I did include a link in case you are interested. There are definitely much more cost-effective filters on the market. Also, not something that is necessary, but I do think it could be very helpful. The next thing that I have is my little camping pot, and inside of this I have fuel, my lovely little stove. I love this thing so much. This thing does the trick. It's really effective. Not that it's essential, but being able to boil water if you need to, or prepare a dehydrated meal. you're gonna need something like this. And then, as if a giant water filter and clean water wasn't enough, I also have some water purification tablets. These are really cost effective, so if you're looking for a good alternative to having a water filter, these can do the trick. I have two different kinds. I have aqua tabs and catadine purification tablets. Both of these are really great. I'm pretty sure you can get them online, so I'll link them below. So next up, food. I keep my food in this lovely bag. I definitely still have to get more because knowing me, this probably would last one day. An example of the dehydrated meals I have been referring to is this bad boy here. It's just a dehydrated, freeze-dried meal, basically. This is Kathmandu scurry. Scurry? Kathmandu style curry is what I was trying to say. But the great thing about a dehydrated or freeze-dried meal is that the shelf life is crazy good. This doesn't expire for another 8 years, which is pretty darn good, I would say. In the event of an emergency, having something like this that's going to last you a long time that you don't have to worry about changing out frequently is a really good idea. But I guess the only catch with something like this is that you have to have boiling water in order to prepare it, which is why I have my little stove. In here, I also just have like granola bars, nutrient-dense granola bars. There will certainly be more that I add to the food portion of my kit, and honestly, any non-perishable food items will do the trick. You don't have to have a backpacker meal or like a dehydrated or freeze-dried meal. Anything that is non-perishable and or will last a very long time that requires minimal effort and minimal resources and supplies to prepare will do the trick. Things like canned fish or canned vegetables, canned beans, anything along those lines will more than suffice. It will be just fine. Really, it's about fueling your body with calorically dense foods. It's less about the nutrition. It's just making sure that you have the energy you need to keep going and to stay alive, basically. Next, we are moving on to hygiene products and clothing and accessories of sorts. The first of that being a trusty headlamp. I have a headlamp that is both rechargeable and battery powered, again, courtesy of backpacking. And this guy is super bright, super powerful, and honestly, I did not realize just how dark things got until we had a really bad windstorm and rainstorm here a while back that caused a power outage all across Vancouver. We're just so used to city lights and street lights all the time that it never really truly feels dark. But without light, it is. So having a headlamp, 10 out of 10 recommend. The next thing I have is a rain poncho. It's lightweight, compact, and will keep me dry. The next few things that I have are hygiene related. So I do have a tiny little toiletry kit that is packed, and in it I have, what do I have? I don't even remember. I packed this a while ago. Tissue, some hair ties, a toothbrush, deodorant, cloth, a very unnecessarily large tube of toothpaste. I did also go out and buy some flushable wipes, which in theory won't matter whether they're flushable or not, but for the sake of hygiene and being able to keep things clean, I thought it would be a good thing to have. Another thing that technically would be hygiene related are face masks. Now I know that I really didn't want to pull these back out because this brings me back to a period of my life that I do not like to think about. But that all being said, if anything good came from COVID, which is a real big stretch, it's understanding the power of a face mask and its ability to protect you against bacteria, viruses, dust, debris, different environmental toxins. That is why I have these, for no other reason than to keep my lungs as safe as possible. We are almost done with what's in my emergency bag. You're really just packing the essentials, all the things that you will need to keep you warm, sustain life, and keep you clean. The next thing that I'm going to show you are all of my clothes. They're packed in this little bag. In here, I have a nice warm hat, a beanie, a toque, whatever you want to call it, some fresh socks, rain pants. They're water resistant, windproof, a really good insulating layer. I have a lovely sports bra, some underwear. I have 2 shirts. I have a long sleeve, warm thermal base layer shirt, and then I also have a t-shirt, very, very old leggings. I do want to throw a pair of shorts in here just because, again, like, you don't know whether it's going to be a hot or a cold season, but that might just be something I do when I kind of take stock and make sure food hasn't expired and that medications are still okay and that I still have everything in there that I need. Those are all the clothes that I have packed in my emergency kit. Nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy. It's very simple and straightforward. The last thing that I have packed is this little pouch. My grandma gave it to me. It's really cute. In this pouch, I have some small mementos and keepsakes. I have some photos that I love and cherish with all my heart. These are my 2 roommates from a couple years ago. These are some friends and I on a lovely road trip where we stopped to look at a rainbow. I have a photo of my dog. More photos of friends. Some keepsakes, some things that make me happy and bring me joy are in this little pouch. I did realize I forgot to mention a couple things, like this lovely Kula cloth, but this is essentially a antibacterial, antimicrobial, reusable piece of beautiful toilet paper. It's almost like a neoprene material of sorts, and it is awesome. It is really great, super sanitary, which I appreciate. And then I also have a, what's this called? Oh, that's pen ink. Guys, that's pen ink. This is a tensor bandage. And then this is just like a little microfiber towel, which is also kind of handy to have. Very versatile. So those are just 3, that's a 2. 3 more things that I quickly wanted to mention because they are certainly helpful, but not essential. This is just a really quick overview of everything. I do also have a satellite communicator. It's a Garmin InReach Mini, which I got for Christmas, so I didn't have at the time of filming. This more or less wraps up my mini emergency preparedness series, kind of going from the what to expect before, during, and after, and how to be prepared. So if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. I'm definitely not the expert, but I'm happy to redirect you to any resources that might be better equipped to answer your questions. Obviously, there's a lot of different things that I have included in mine, and I have my reason for all of them. I will, of course, include links to both products and references that I have used and included to build my emergency kit. That is it for me today. I'm officially going to sign off and say see you later. So thank you again for watching today's video, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.